Hey there. So if you're watching this, you're likely at a C1 level, which means you've definitely got the basics of pronouns down. But there's a huge difference between just knowing the rules and sounding truly natural, right? That's what we're going to tackle today. All those little nuances that are the real key to unlocking fluency.
Okay, just so we're all starting from the same page, let's do a super quick refresher. A pronoun, like he in this sentence, just stands in for a noun, in this case, my father, so we don't have to keep repeating ourselves. Simple enough? But the real magic, the C1 level stuff, is in mastering the pronouns that look the same but do totally different jobs. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to go way beyond simple subjects and objects. We'll look at how to talk about people in general, then untangle those really tricky self pronouns. After that, we'll hit the pronouns for mutual actions, do a quick dive into it and there, and then wrap it all up with an advanced mindset to make it all stick. Look, at this point, you've totally mastered pronouns like I, she, me, and her. That's a given. This session is all about moving past that and getting into the sophisticated tools you need to make your communication sound way more complex and natural. First up, how do we talk about people when we don't mean anyone specific? When we're just making a general statement about, well, everyone. This is where generic pronouns come into play. Okay, now check this out, because the difference here is all about the vibe. Saying you have to study a lot, that's how people actually talk. It's common, it's informal, it's natural. But one has to study a lot? That sounds incredibly formal, almost stuffy. It's something you'd find in an academic essay, not in a real conversation. And yeah, this quote from Richard absolutely nails it. While using one as a subject is grammatically fine, using it as an object can sound, as he puts it, ridiculously pompous. Honestly, in everyday spoken English, just stick with you. It's always your best and most natural-sounding bet. Of course, we've got other options too. We is fantastic when you want to include yourself and the person you're talking with. They is perfect for that vague group of people in charge, They should do something about this. And here's a really crucial one for modern English, the singular they. If you don't know a person's gender, it is completely standard to say someone left their phone. It's so much smoother than the clunky old his or her. All right, let's tackle an area that trips up a lot of advanced learners. I'm talking about all those words ending in self or selves. What are they really for, and are they all used the same way? Let's find out. So their main job is to be reflexive. Think of it like a mirror. The action starts with the subject and bounces right back to them. In I hurt myself, the person doing the hurting and the person getting hurt are the same. The action reflects back. But these pronouns are kind of like a Swiss Army knife. They do a few different things. First, you've got that main reflexive use we just saw. Second, you can use them for emphasis, to really stress that you did it without help. And third, when you add the word by, like by myself, it simply means you were alone. Which brings up a really good question, doesn't it? If a reflexive pronoun can be used for emphasis, then what in the world is an emphatic pronoun? Is it something totally different? And here's the answer, and this is the crucial point. Emphatic pronouns are completely optional. You can literally just pull them out of a sentence, and the sentence remains grammatically perfect. Their only job is to add a little extra punch. This example shows it perfectly. The CEO came to my office. Okay, that's a fine sentence. It's a fact. But if you say, the CEO himself came to my office, whoa, suddenly there's a story. That one little word adds all this weight and surprise. That's the power of an emphatic pronoun. Now, here's a massive tip for C1 learners, especially if your first language uses these verbs reflexively. In English, we just don't say things like, I am going to wash myself, or he dressed himself. It's already understood. We only add that pronoun for special emphasis, like, even with a broken arm, he managed to dress himself.
Okay, so we've covered actions you do to yourself, but what about actions that go back and forth between people? Well, that's a whole different ballgame, and it calls for a different kind of pronoun.
So first, let's look at the reflexive version again. If John and Mark bought themselves new phones, it means John bought a phone for his own use and Mark bought a separate phone for his own use. Two people, two separate actions. But if we say they bought each other new phones, the entire meaning changes. Now it's a mutual two-way action. John bought a phone for Mark and Mark bought a phone for John. It's a trade. This tiny difference is absolutely vital for clear communication. Let's quickly cover two small but really powerful pronouns. Think of it and their as dummy subjects. They don't really refer to a specific noun, but they're essential for setting the stage in a sentence. The rule here is pretty simple, actually. We use it for general situations. Time, weather, distance, things like that. It's late. It's cold. We use there when we want to state that something exists. So you'd say, there's a problem, to introduce the problem. Then you can switch to it and say, it's making me late.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. To make sure all these distinctions really stick, let's wrap this all up with a quick guide. Think of it as a cheat sheet, so you can start using these pronouns with total confidence.
This table is really your key takeaway. Just remember, reflexive is essential. The subject and object are the same. Emphatic is optional. It just adds stress. And reciprocal is for that two-way mutual action. Truly mastering this distinction is a major sign of a C1 speaker.
So I'll leave you with a final thought. Understanding the rules is one thing, but true fluency comes from observation. The next time you're watching a movie in English or chatting with a friend, listen for these pronouns. Notice how people use them to add emphasis or to talk about mutual actions. That's how you really start to own them.